We just got ourselves some big news coming here for PSO2 New Genesis Creative Faces that we're going to be getting our hands on that week because we just got some big gameplay drop, as well as I get also a preview for version 2 coming in from Noisy Pixel going over version 2. And yeah, this is kind of coming out of the blue, but nonetheless, we do got a preview that Sega did put out with them. And of course, today we're going to be going into all this, seeing what is version 2, especially now with a little more unedited gameplay toward in here for it to check out and to look at. But before we hop into this, welcome back to your number one stop for daily PSO2 New Genesis gameplay how-tos and of course, all that jazz. But before we hop into that, I do want to give a giant thank you to everybody that is supporting over on patreon.com/Maconn, subscribing over on twitch.tv/TroyMaconn, and memberships here on YouTube. Thank you, my dudes, and a big shout out to 1K for subscribing at the Lunatil. And with that, let's jump into this. Let's see what's going on with the gameplay. So like always, I will have links in the description below where you can go check out that video and go give Pixel some love here for the brand new video. And let's go ahead and just jump into this and let go about everything that they got to preview coming into version 2 of PSO. So it does look like right out of the gate we are going to start our quest probably with that new NPC.
Release of Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, or NGS
but kind of given.
And the journey so far has definitely met a lot of criticism and development complications, especially with the novel coronavirus pandemic putting a wrench on many things. But that changes with the first ever major overhaul update known as New Genesis version 2. I recently had the opportunity to try out this new version early, so let's talk about what it has in store. Before we get into the preview, we'd like to thank our Patreon supporters for making this possible. Please take a second to check out Patreon.com.
Yeah, just for the record, I would not add to look at the preview at all. I didn't even know they were letting people any interview or play around with this at all. So this is actually a nice surprise out of the gate. Do gotta say, it does look a little janky trying to connect pieces a little bit.
The star of the show, or I suppose I should say space, of this update is the titular creative space. Unlike the personal quarters from the original PSO2, which are for the most part situated indoors, a creative space is quite literally a blank field slate that you can decorate however you want, which you access from any Ryuker devices
they look
on
fairly
the field.
big.
To unlock creative spaces, you must also have completed Chapter 1 of the main story, or at least enough to reach Ialeo City. You also do not need
bad.
any sort of
That is like
access
20
ticket or
minutes
active
at best,
premium pass,
maybe.
though the latter will give you special benefits.
Okay, now the question is, what is the special benefit though? That is going to be the question here. Because they have not talked about anything when it comes to how Creative Face is going to tie into premium. Honestly, once again, it's me just spitballing, but I could see it being maybe extra currency to buy items and stuff, since we do know we are going to have a shop where we're going to be able to buy furniture pieces with the new Genesis point system, or as I have pretty much dubbed it, Fun Point 2.0. So maybe, or maybe it is just a faith thing. I'm not 100% for sure here. I kind of wish they would have went into more detail on that.
The Creative Space interface, you can place down build parts. There's a bit of a learning curve here, as the sheer amount of UI prompts and buttons at your disposal may be a bit too much at first, and I found that because placing parts is dependent on your camera, it can be a bit hard to really nail structures sometimes.
Yeah, that white though, that twofold. First of all, you know, looking at it, especially for no gameplay, it did look very janky trying to like connect. So say this is no Vorheim by any means. But with that being said, the other part of that being a little overwhelming with the menus and stuff. That was one of the biggest worries, like, going into this, will be, like, don't get me wrong, there will be people that will fully go into this with no previous experience at all and just dive right in. Ideally, hopefully, this will be something that will be worth doing, especially with the more gameplay stuff we can do. But with that being said, though, my worry, though, is will this be overwhelming? Because, like we have talked about, I believe, with 2 headlines ago, we ended up going into like an hour-long discussion breaking down like game logic and how stuff is connecting and how triggers are working. We pretty much did like a deep dive into the actual mechanic of building, which for me I'm very excited for because a lot of that is stuff I'm familiar with my game dev background, and I'm like, I get it. Like looking at the menus and seeing what they're doing, I pretty much was able to figure it out. With that being said, if you're someone who haven't met with, like, say, Unity, Unreal, or any other game engine type stuff, I'm still worried it might be a little much here for a lot of people. So hopefully that will be one of them things that won't be too bad. Or who knows, maybe that will be one of them cases where I'm going to make like 500 videos and everything be great. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on them videos, since I'm probably going to be your bet stop for showing you how to make stuff in PSO. But nonetheless, I'm still a little worried on that. So yeah, sadly it looked like the jankiness though we just going to have to deal with, huh? But I get that kind of the issue here is since putting down items is going to be set to your player add the marker, which in return, obviously, that the case because, console gaming here to allow you to actually, do it on consoles. Well, if it were PC only, we could easily be like Forge or any other game engine, as example, that, like they get a little more in-depth, such as Unity, where we could just do, proper 3D movement with mouse and keyboard. But obviously, that can't be the case here, or not easily, or they're not going that way, probably because of consoles. So that can be one of the things that hopefully over time will get better as they progress in this. Let hope. But yeah, I could see just watching the footage of like, yeah, they look very janky in some ways.
Furthermore, there's also a load limit, but after doing some extremely scientific testing, I can confirm that it takes some effort to cap out that limit.
So right there is like my question. Yeah, like it's good to know that the load limit is high, but at the same time, how much of that is because obviously since they're a preview, that means premium is probably unlocked on that character. So I'm kind of curious to know, like, will that be one of the things that will be, distant depending on free to play and premium?
Editing privileges can also be given to other players, allowing for collaborative builds.
That is good. That is good, because the thing was about that. We knew with the Alliance stuff we were going to give a way to have other players to help out. Good to know that it is like roles like that. I'm hoping what that meaning is as in not so much like Alliant rank, like admin, member, officer, the normal guild system that in any MMO. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully there's just like, right click on the person and be like, hey, you can build here, and they just have it. Like a whitelist system. Hopefully that will be easy to add and to modify. But yeah, that is interesting because Elite from there kind of make it sound like you're going to be able to do that outside of Alliant Quarter. So maybe anyway your friend that just come visit, he'll...
Sheer amount of customization means that all sorts of crazy structures can be created, provided you have the time and patience to get everything just right. The next feature is the Connect system, which allows you to set interactions with the various build parts, such as switches, doors, and other animated apparatus. This system is definitely complicated to understand at first and will take a long time to even grasp.
Because like I said, that is literally just straight up like game logic and design, which is, once again, my worry.
Because even while messing around...
Like, don't get me wrong, it's going to be awesome, ideally, but, we got to deal with the issue of a learning curve.
Around with it, I couldn't get it to work 100% of the time. Still, I blame this on myself and my lack of skill. To obtain build parts, star gems, as well as a brand new currency called Genesis points are utilized. By exchanging either of these, you can obtain new types of furniture and tile structures that you can use to build. Like star gems, Genesis points are obtained from limited time tasks, and you can also get a rather generous amount from Arky, the creative space NPC, if you can complete her tutorial.
Okay, so the question is about that. Like, we knew about limited time, we knew about like daily, weekly type stuff, we knew that. So I'm curious. I imagine there are probably gonna be some weekly, probably maybe tied to the depending on how far they want to go. But I really wish we were getting Pacific still. Like, how much did she get? Which obviously that could be something that might change from now to then, because who know how old of a build this is that they are playing. But with that being said, at least it's good to know we are going to get some form to start off. The question will be here is, are we going to literally start off with like a wall and ground and tails and that it? Or are we going to start with like a default of number of furniture and then heal points if you want to buy extra? Or will we just, like I said, have the floor, the wall, a tail, and a door and that it? And then the point will go to like, window lighting, like that type of stuff. So I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to actually work out, especially since she obviously going to give you money for doing this.
There's also a tree called the GP tree, which will give you points once every day. But if you're not...
Oh, so once every day. So now the question on that, because originally I thought it was going to be, you do daily, do you weekly, you go to your house, you collect it. Kind of similar to how you put bonuses on you and bait PSO from the tree. But it actually seemed like that's not going to be the case. So I wonder if the points are going to be automatically added to you for doing weeklies and dailies. And then the tree itself will be like a separate amount. I wonder. I'm very interested to see what that actually looked like now.
Not interested in the creative space, there are still plenty of quality of life improvements coming in version 2. The first is that up until now, PC players always had to download both NGS and the base PSO2 data, which takes a colossal amount of storage space.
To be honest, this is good, to be honest.
You can now choose to only install NGS's data.
Because the thing is about that is that was always available on consoles. Like PS4 launched with that. And NGS at that point, over 100 gigs. So, like, on one hand, it's like, yeah, if you got no interest in going back to bait PSO, is it good? Because it's going to save you, like, 40, 50 gigs. On the other hand, I only worry about this, which is not really a worry, but I feel like we are entering, like, the beginning stages of Sega just slowly, like, letting bait PSO just kind of fade into the background fully. Don't get me wrong, they've been doing this since launch of NGS, but, like, by making it on every platform able to not even worry about it, and any more so now that obviously weapon equipment, that type of stuff doesn't really matter from baits into NGS anymore, since we are past the Alio time, and also every weapon type in the game now. So I feel like this is the fourth step of many to just, kind of sunset bait PSO. So, on one hand, it's good for the people that, have no interest and don't have to deal with an over 100 gig file. But on the other hand, it's one of them cases of like, enjoy bait PSO while you can, everybody. Because that might be gone in the net like 4 to 5. Actually, probably, let's be realistic, probably more like 2 to 3 years. So yeah, it's good, but at the same time, it's, at the beginning of the end in some way, or at least that way it feels like, no matter how good it is.
Which reduces the installation size to roughly 60 gigabytes. This excellent feature was present in the Japanese version and console releases, but it's definitely a plus to finally see it.
Yeah, I never understood
PC.
technically why that was the case in global.
By using tickets. These can be purchased from the class counter.
Yeah, since it was held by default in
JP. Allow you to skip content in New Genesis. There are 3 types of them. The first will allow you to upgrade any class to level 70 instantly, and you'll also earn class-appropriate equipment alongside it. The second is the
This is the stuff that, like, just for the record, like, the stuff here. Because we have done videos about that, how they removing some of the free-to-play stuff, and putting it behind paywall. Example given here. Don't get me wrong, 1 or 2 things in here that are actually new. But, like, the story content stuff was the whole thing. If you started a new character or went to a new ship, it would ask you, like, hey, do you just want to get to the new content if you have already completed it? So you could just skip and it will level you roughly to what you should be, quote-unquote, for the beginning of that chapter or expansion. They taking that away and just now putting it behind a paywall, which by doing so, that means you don't have to do it Elite once anymore. So a lot of this stuff is one of them things where I highly do not recommend spending the money on this stuff because, let's be real, well, something dramatically gonna change here in the next like few months. If you're not a social VR chat player, by paying to get that stuff, you just have no reason to play PSO. Like I said, without you are the VR chat type of person. So, it's like, I do not recommend doing it at all. if you have never played through the game as is. Because let's be honest, once you hit in-game, you will like what in-game is. It very quickly become make it or break it if you enjoy your spending money or socializing. If a new one, there really no point, to skip. So I highly do not recommend doing it if you can, if you're a new player.
The completion status of all the cocoons and training towers to completed, granting you the necessary skill points to upgrade your class. And finally, the third one will skip available story content, letting you explore all the regions as soon as possible. All of these tickets require ARX cash, which is only obtained through in-game purchases, and while I can think of a few use cases for them, I would recommend against doing such for those new to the game. The next feature was that you can now apply
happy
cell
they agree with
shading
me on
to your
that.
player avatar.
But
This can be
wow,
customized
okay.
via the salon, and you can adjust the
cell
outline
shading looks
emphasis as
so
well as the
much
shadow
better
density.
now.
The applied setting.
Because the thing is about cell shading, like, don't get me wrong, I had a feeling we were going to look fairly decent, but actually seeing it in high bitrate at night, because, watching or seeing cell shading in the headline stream only going to show so much, especially with kind of how bad the bitrates are on the headline stream itself, and then, not counting the compression of the video, streaming, YouTube. And the main reason I constantly say for any game, if you watch any live stream of any game, hell, some videos in a lot of ways, do not take what it looked like at face value, because bitrate is not nice. So actually seeing this in roughly uncompleteness, it actually looked really good for the cell shading.
Not only on your own avatar, but certain NPCs as well. As someone who enjoys cell shading in general, I look forward to seeing how my avatar will look with this new filter.
Yeah, I am
last
too,
thing are
especially now
portable
seeing
holograms, which are sticker and
just for the record, it might be a little conspiracy theory on my end, but I will fully admit this cell shaded stuff. I personally think what's gonna happen with this is it's a test for whatever the net thing is for Sega. Maybe some Jet Set Radio, maybe. Hopefully not with NFTs. Hopefully the rumors are not accurate. Or the more realistic thing of what I foresee happening here is it being not only a way to, deal with some upcoming competitors that are coming into the anime MMO field, but also as probably a test for future PSO games. If I still have my theories about how if we ever get PSO3 or whatever the net mainline series is, probably won't come to the West. More than likely, it still will use that cel-shaded style, and I feel like it's kind of testing the waters on that a little bit.
and 3D-like structures you can place in the overworld. At first, one of my biggest concerns when this new feature was showcased in the NGS headline was that players could spam these anywhere, effectively bogging down certain places with all their holograms. But as it turns out, there's a very low limit to them, and if a player gets far away from their hologram, a system message will trigger.
We knew about
their
that.
hologram has been deleted.
They talked about that. I think on the last headline stream they talked about that.
There were many new features that I saw. It's looking to be an amazing update for the creative types who want to create their own designs and buildings with the creative space. Furthermore, there are also
Which I'm totally
multiple
down
quality of
for
life
that.
improvements that personally make the game experience significantly better. Version 2 will be coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on June 7th, 2023. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon.
So yeah, it's safe to say going into this, like most of my worries I originally had of stuff being a little confusing is pretty accurate. And also I get a little bit of the jankiness that, actually seeing it, just like, yeah, hopefully they get cleaned up a little bit over time, if not already, 'cause once again, who knows how old the build is. They could be the same build from like 5 months ago or whatever that, like G-Wiz and them talked about playing. But nonetheless on that, I do gotta say going into this, like the biggest thing probably coming out of it that we've seen is a little more detail on the tweet, and of course actually seeing what it looked like when it not just, cut together super quickly. So I'm still pretty excited for this as well, and also cel-shaded looks so much better now as well, but that kind of given. All things considered though, is they're still not answering like my questions of like how are we gonna like find this stuff, as far as like, finding map to go to, people houses to go to, are we gonna have recommended system, If you make dungeons and stuff, is it going to be tied to you, or are you going to be able to upload them as like levels? Especially since they state you can upload prefabs or say like architectural, so you can share with people. So I have so many questions about that stuff, and obviously they still didn't go into that, which I get makes sense for what their preview is. I am happy that Sega is starting to do preview stuff. I'd be very interested to see if they actually reach out to any content creator for that beyond. Beyond quote unquote like YouTube press or whatever you want to call this. I get technically still press, but any content creator with press. But semantics aside on that, hopefully we start seeing more of this, and it might be a good fourth step for that stuff. But for version 2, though, I'm still pretty excited for it. Hopefully, it will be good. Like I said, I still have my worry about people being overwhelmed or confusing or no real reason to do this, especially if the recommended system is not there. But with that being said, I'm still holding out hope that it will turn into one of them cases of we be able to jump in, record, do a whole bunch of video helping you guys out for creative bases, especially with my background. Being able to hopefully break it down a little more simple, or if you just want to hear me rattle up game design stuff, be sure to check out my headline stream coverage from like 2 headline streams ago, where we went like over an hour in depth on just how the systems were looking in that video. But nonetheless, though, I still would love to get videos up about that on like guides and help you guys do it, as well as a way to like show off some of the best stuff, like might it be like every week or so, some of the cool stuff people are making. I'm hoping we can do that, finger crossed, but nonetheless, I'm still pretty excited, and of course, once this actually comes out next week on Wednesday, you better believe I am absolutely going to be streaming all of this. So if you want to check out more gameplay of this, or maybe you just want some helping hand, or maybe you just want to see some cool stuff, be sure to hit that wonderful subscribe button and hit the wonderful bell so you will be notified of all my PSO video, as well as my live stream we will be doing on Wednesday for the release of a PSO2 New Genesis version 2. So with that, I guess that will go ahead and do it for me. Once again, video will be linked in the description, so you can go check it out and give them some love. And for now, that's going to go ahead and do it for me. But with that being said, let me know in the comments how you are feeling about this now that we got a little more insight, that not just Sega randomly showing stuff. And while you all down there in the comments, I will go ahead and see you in the comments.